what we did with the Maker's 46, there were several different recipes going around, several different processes, and what happened is that they decided to tinker with the wood. So the thing to remember is that the Maker's 46 begins with fully matured Maker's Mark. So it begins with Maker's Mark that has been aged to taste and is ready to become Maker's Mark. However, it undergoes a secondary aging process. They empty out the original barrel, and here's a part. This is a piece of our charred oak barrel. They empty out the barrel, and within it they affix 10 toasted French oak staves. And this is all much larger in size. So with the toasted French oak, you get a different type of oak, but you also have a different type of cooking the wood. You can cook wood just like you can cook anything. The barrel in which the bourbon lives for 5 years to 7 years is charred American.
Right.
You get all that release of the caramels, the sweet sugars, the wood sweetness. The toasted French oak is releasing different qualities. This wood is never actually set on fire. So you're getting vanillins, fruity esters, different things like that, that is then aged again for 3 to 6 months to become Maker's 46.
So the whiskey is poured back in the barrel?
Put in the barrel with the addition. So it's a French oak finished Maker's Mark. 46 has nothing to do with either the proof or the age of the bourbon. It is actually the project number of these special staves. This was Project 46. And so that's how it got its name.
But now it could have been as simple as transferring the whiskey into French oak barrels?
That would have given too much wood contact, too much French character.
Right.
And it could have really changed the flavor. There were many experiments with quarter casks, double barreling, things like that. But just doing the addition of the staves within the original barrel and that finishing process is what became what we now know as 46.
If we go back to the benchmark standard Maker's Mark, this is the very same as it was 20 years ago, 15 years ago,
Yes.
10 years ago?
Yeah. We actually have a panel that continues to taste the bourbon every single day. So as the barrels are married together to become Maker's Mark, it then goes on for the tasting panel to make sure that it maintains that exact same consistency.
You should reveal some secrets here. The 46 being quite successful, I believe. Will there be any more of those projects?
Not yet. There's a funny saying at the distillery. It says every 50 years or so we like to shake things up. So it took us 50 years to make the 46.
That's Kentucky style.
It's Kentucky style. So not yet, but we can always hope, because I really think that the best bourbons do come out of our little distillery at Maker's Mark. What do you say we give the 46 a taste?
Well, I completely
I think
agree.
so.
It would not be respectful otherwise.
So when we go back and forth between the 46 and the Maker's Mark,
Thank you.
you're going to still enjoy that beautiful caramel flavor of the Maker's Mark. However, there's brand new qualities in the 46 brought to you by that French oak. You're going to get a beautiful creamy mouthfeel, toasted marshmallow flavors, and a delicious spiciness that you usually can't experience without rye as a flavoring grain. The spiciness not being hot, but being your nutmeg, your cinnamon, your beautiful baking spice flavors. Cheers.
Cheers.
And as we exhale, you notice a brand new mouthfeel. It's not only at the tip of the tongue like Maker's Mark. You get a creamy, soft, spicy, deep complexity and boldness.
Definitely spicier, a bit more bold, as you said. The base is Maker's Mark for sure. What would you say is the perfect occasion for that? Is there a difference in between the enjoyment of the 46 and the standard Maker's Mark?
I think that the 46 occasion is also a special occasion. Every day can be a special occasion as well.
Right.
46 is now my favorite. However, I really like having 46 as simply as over a large cold draft ice cube.
Okay.
I find it to be very flavorful, complex, with that different kind of character than Maker's Mark, that I often enjoy it like that. Although it continues to make an excellent Manhattan too.
Well, what about eating with Maker's Mark?
Eating with Maker's Mark and Maker's 46 makes every meal better. Maker's 46, in addition to beautiful cocktail pairings, anything from a whiskey sour or a Collins, or even mixed with a little bit of champagne or Prosecco, you could actually use Maker's Mark in your recipes.
Okay.
Delicious pecan pie,
Ooh.
a beautiful bourbon creme brulee for dessert, and we actually have a cookbook online where you can look at some of these recipes.
All right. And so what is that? What is the website?
Makersmark.com.
That is
Only if you're 21.
back to fermentation
Yes.
and distillation. What sets Maker's Mark apart when it comes to fermentation and distillation?
Well, we do make our own yeast called the Dona at the distillery, and we actually grow our own yeast. The yeast is key to the flavor of your bourbon as the grains. And so we have our secret Dona recipe at the distillery that they make every day. As far as the distillation goes, we distill at a lower proof and barrel at a lower proof.
Okay.
And what this means is that you are preserving more of the grain flavor. Bourbon has to be distilled at less than 160. Our second distillation finishes at 130. So that's significantly lower than the law requires. In addition, bourbon has to be put in the barrel at less than 125, 125 or less. We actually put it in the barrel at 110 proof. So what that means is that you are actually getting more barrel and char flavoring during your age because your spirit is softer while it ages.
All right.
And all of these things are done to make that wheat flavor and that beautiful caramel shine through.
Of course, you can't really give the secret of the mash bill, but are we dealing with just 51% corn?
No, I actually will tell you the secret recipe because you won't do it as good as Kentucky does it. But we are actually at Maker's Mark.
That's for our fellow friends upstate New York.
Yes. So it is not proprietary, so I will tell you. It is 70% corn, 16% red winter wheat, and 14% malted barley.
All right. And those grains are coming from?
They're coming from Kentucky and the surrounding states, such as Indiana.
All right.
And we actually don't use any genetically modified corn or grains as well.
Okay,
So
that must be difficult to source.
it's difficult to source and also very expensive. But along with our fermentation, distilling, barreling, there's another saying that goes around at the distillery. It says we are inefficient because we want to be.
Or just because it's Kentucky? I don't know.
No, because
Say
all
that.
those flavors end up showing through.
What about the fermenting vessels? Are they wooden wash bags?
We
are they
use a
stainless
mixture of
steel?
cypress and then also stainless steel.
Okay. And when it comes to distillation, do you call it a pot still? Do you call it a column still?
The first run goes through a column still, and then the second one is in a doubler, which is your pot style still.
Okay.
And
Very
so it
good.
has two distillations.
And people can go and visit?
Yes,
Whenever
you
they
can
feel like
visit the Maker's Mark Distillery whenever you like, and there are public tours every day, but if you go, I'll set you up with something special.
That's nice. I think we'll have to go back soon.
Yes.
Do you participate in the single barrel program? Although some people who go and get their own barrel.
Maker's Mark doesn't do a single barrel program.
But you have something special
We,
over there.
at the distillery, we don't do any of the single barrels, but you can if you become a Maker's Mark ambassador, which is completely free to sign up, and it's just a way to show our appreciation to our greatest fans. You get your name on a barrel, and then when your barrel comes to maturity, you can actually go down to the distillery and get a bottle from your own barrel.
Lovely. That's yet another excuse to go down to Kentucky.
Yeah, it's one more reason to go to Kentucky.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Should we
Um,
have one last toast?
I think so.
Cheers, and thank you for having me.
And to bourbon, and one of its earliest ambassadors in bourbon modern's age, because really, if it was not for Maker's Mark to pave the way,
We wouldn't have any of the beautiful and delicious bourbons we have today. Really
Exactly.
set the standard for premiums,
to Maker's Mark
to makers, and to friendship.
and to friendship.
Cheers.